Good morning, traders, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. It's Monday, April 7th, 2025, and this is your go-to podcast for Forex news and market forecast for the next trading day, Tuesday, April 8th. I'm FX Videos, and today we've got a ton to unpack, from a stronger-than-expected U.S. labor report to continued volatility in the yen, and yes, all eyes are still on the ECB's next move. So grab your charts, check your economic calendar, and let's dive right in. Let's kick things off with what moved the markets today. The US dollar came out swinging this morning after the latest non-farm payroll numbers beat expectations, again. We saw the dollar index, the DXY, pop back above 105.60 during the New York session. Payrolls printed at 248,000 jobs added for March, versus the 198,000 expected. That's now the third month in a row the U.S. labor market has outperformed forecasts. Traders, this is key, the Fed might have one eyebrow raised now. While inflation has cooled slightly, this kind of labor strength means rate cuts. Not coming as fast as the market hoped. Now looking at euro to US dollar. The pair slipped to around 1.0720, down about 60 pips on the day. The euro continues to get hammered by weaker German manufacturing data, and with Lagarde remaining vague about any summer rate pivot, the bears are clearly in control for now. On the flip side, US dollar to Japanese yen. That's been wild. We saw it test 152.30 today, and you know what that means. Bank of Japan intervention rumors are flying again. We haven't seen a confirmed move by the BOJ, but Tokyo traders were reportedly tightening stops fast. And let's not forget pound sterling to US dollar. Cable dropped below 1.2600 today after a disappointing UK construction PMI and more dovish chatter from Bailey. London session volatility picked up right after that report hit, and the pound hasn't recovered since. Quick snapshot, DXY, bullish momentum remains. Euro to US dollar, breaking down below key support. US dollar to Japanese yen, hot zone. Intervention watch is real. Pound sterling to US dollar, weakness building as rate cut odds grow. Let's now talk about what's coming next. Alright, looking ahead to Tuesday, April 8th, the landscape stays tricky, and that's where sharp positioning makes all the difference. First off, let's check the calendar. In the US we've got the ISM Services PMI set to drop at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If this number comes in strong, expect the dollar bulls to dig in even further. Forecast is 53.4, and anything north of 55 will probably fuel more hawkish Fed expectations. Over in Europe, we've got a speech from ECB Vice President Luis de Guindos, and trust me, the euro needs all the help it can get. Traders are hoping for something more concrete than the usual, will remain data-dependent line. If we get more dovish signals, euro to US dollar could make a run at 1.0680 or even test 1.0650 by midweek. In Asia, Japan's wage growth data could be the catalyst that breaks the yen out of its range. BOJ is watching wage inflation closely as a justification to finally exit negative rates. If numbers are soft, US dollar to Japanese yen may blast through the 152.50 barrier, and if that happens, buckle up for some verbal, or even real, intervention. And don't sleep on Australia either. The RBA's assistant governor is speaking at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. Australian dollar to US dollar is sitting near a key support at 0.6520. Depending on the tone, we might see a bounce or a breakdown to the 0.6480 zone. Now, quickfire outlooks for some major pairs. Euro to US dollar. If the pair closes below 1.0700 tonight, the path to 1.0650 opens up. Best case for bulls. A hawkish ECB tone, but that's a long shot right now. Pound sterling to US dollar, short bias looks safer. Watch for a test of 1.2550 if UK data continues to underwhelm. US dollar to Japanese yen, it's a powder keg. If Tokyo does nothing, 153.00 isn't out of the question. Intervention risk remains high, keep position sizes in check. Australian dollar to US dollar, sitting at the edge. Watch 0.6520 like a hawk. Below that, 0.6480 is next stop. Now let's talk levels, because in this kind of market, technicals are your compass. DXY, dollar index were flirting with resistance at 105.80. A clean break. We're looking at 106.20 next. Support is down around 105.10, a zone that's been holding for over a week. Euro to US dollar, 200-day moving average is sitting at 1.0725, and guess what, we're dancing right below it. A close beneath this level spells more downside. Watch for RSI signals, we're getting close to oversold territory. US dollar to Japanese yen, the fib extension from the February lows projects resistance at 152.80. MACD still bullish, but divergence is forming. This could signal a pullback or at least some sideways chop. Pound sterling to US dollar, support trend line from January sits right at 1.2550. Break that. We're looking at a slide toward 1.2480. Bulls need a strong catalyst, and they just don't have one right now. Australian dollar to US dollar, we're seeing a bearish flag forming on the 4H chart. A break below 0.6520 confirms it, and 0.6480 becomes the bear target. Alright, let's wrap with a few trade ideas I'm watching heading into Tuesday. Short euro to US dollar on rallies into 1.0740, with ECB dovishness and strong US labor data, selling the rallies could make sense, especially with tight stops above 1.0780. Cautious longs in US dollar to Japanese yen, momentum favors the bulls, but intervention risk is not to be ignored. Size down, or consider options if you want upside exposure without the same risk. Short Australian dollar to US dollar if 0.6520 breaks, that flag setup could unfold quickly if RBA tone disappoints. Pound sterling to US dollar short bias, as long as we're under 1.2620, downside pressure remains. UK macro data is just not supportive right now. And that's it for today's rundown, folks. Just remember, these aren't trade recommendations, do your own due diligence, and always manage your risk. The market can humble anyone, fast. Thanks for tuning in to the April 7th edition of the Forex Breakdown. If you found this helpful, hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening. Share it with a fellow trader. And if you're watching the charts overnight, keep an eye on Asia, that yen move could be fireworks. I'm FX Videos, signing off. Trade smart, stay sharp, and I'll catch you on the next episode.